Donald Trump almost ignored the topic of the war in Ukraine in his traditional annual address to Congress. The main topics were the economy and the security of American borders. Moreover, the United States even tried to remove from the Ukrainian resolution at the UN the points about territorial integrity, internationally recognized borders, and a just peace based on international law, claiming that these allegedly hinder the current negotiation process. But the General Assembly did not accept this proposal and by an overwhelming majority supported the Ukrainian resolution. Our own TSN correspondent in the United States, Olha Koshelenko, will provide detailed coverage of the intrigue at the UN and how the 4th anniversary of the full-scale war was commemorated in New York.
The maneuver by the United States at the UN, specifically the intention to remove from the Ukrainian resolution marking the 4th anniversary of the full-scale invasion, the points about respect for territorial integrity and a just peace for Ukraine based on international law, became known literally 15 minutes before the start of the session. Before this, during consultations with their Ukrainian counterparts, American diplomats had not expressed any reservations. They submitted their resolution already taking into account the current state of affairs and the position of their partners, so they focused on the main point, the call for an immediate ceasefire. Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, Mariana Betsa, who flew to New York for the General Assembly meeting, told TSN. And the sudden change in mood of the American colleagues just minutes before the meeting was surprising. These issues distract from the negotiations, explained the representative of the United States. As is well known, US President Donald Trump has repeatedly stated that for a peace agreement, Ukraine would have to agree to a so-called territorial exchange, in essence, handing over Donbas to Russia. The United States, of course, welcomes the call for an immediate ceasefire. As we have said, this resolution contains wording that could distract from the ongoing negotiations rather than support discussion of the full range of diplomatic avenues that could pave the way to a lasting peace. Right now, ending the war requires political will. We believe that we are closer to an agreement than at any time since the beginning of this war. A response had to be made instantly. Ukraine called for the rejection of the American proposals. They were put to a separate vote and 11 countries sided with the United States. Among them are Russia, Belarus, Hungary, Israel, and several African countries. The Ukrainian resolution, meanwhile, received even more votes than last year, 107 in favor. After the vote, Mariana Betsa is congratulated and partners shake her hand.
Ukraine is ready for peace. We have never refused peaceful negotiations. We participate constructively. We are even ready for certain compromises, but we are not ready to compromise on our sovereignty and territorial integrity. With all due respect to the American delegation, we definitely opposed it because this is a red line for Ukraine.
The President of the United States practically ignored the war in Ukraine in his traditional address to Congress. Among the invited guests was the mother of Irina Zarutska, a Ukrainian refugee who was killed and became an accidental victim of a mentally ill American. Donald Trump promised the grieving mother justice for her daughter. But as for the country that has entered its 5th year of a bloody war, there were only 2 sentences.
We are working hard to end the 9th war, the killing in Russia and Ukraine, where 25,000 soldiers die every month. Just think about it. A war that would never have happened if I had been president. It never would have happened.
Ukrainians in New York marked the 4th anniversary of the full-scale invasion with a rally in Times Square. The crowd was made up mostly of women and children, and Yulia is originally from Mariupol. In the first days of the occupation, she fled from there and evacuated her parents, but her heart remained there.
Orphans. Everyone who is in Mariupol will understand me now. And honestly, today was a very deeply sentimental and emotional day. I really want to go home. I hope that someday we will go. Unfortunately, the house is gone, but I still want to walk along our streets.
A man with a distinctly Ukrainian name, Sviatoslav, is an American born in New York. On his shoulders is a flag signed by Ukrainian soldiers whom he and his friends are helping.
I help. I do what I can. I send drones, but the fact that America isn't helping, I've already made my peace with that. Now Ukraine has to help itself. So...
Accepted it?
I've already come to terms with it. I come twice a year, but my partner is constantly going to the east. These are the Kraken soldiers. They all died, so I wear this in their honor.
Glory be to Ukraine.
Honor heroes.
Glory to Ukraine. Heroic nation.
Glory to the heroes.
From New York, United States, Olha Koshelenko, Maxim Shinkarenko, TSN 1+1, Marathon United News.
Russia's permanent representative to the UN, Vasily Nebenzia, is openly threatening Ukraine and President Volodymyr Zelensky, stating that the terms for peace negotiations for Kyiv will only get worse with each passing day if Ukraine does not agree to Moscow's realistic conditions. This statement was made during a UN Security Council meeting, where Nebenzia also accused the Ukrainian leadership of attacking peaceful Russian citizens and emphasized that Moscow is ready to continue exerting military pressure until Zelensky comes to his senses and accepts Russia's proposal.
And now, more details in our report. You are watching the Glavred channel, and I am your host, Yevgeny Serov. Like and subscribe to the channel.
According to Nebenzia, the president of Ukraine has allegedly been repeatedly made aware that if he refuses Russia's terms, subsequent proposals will be tougher and less favorable. The Russian diplomat claims that each new version of a peace settlement for Ukraine will be worse than the previous one if Kyiv continues to resist and refuses to acknowledge the Kremlin's demands. These statements come against the backdrop of Ukraine's ongoing resistance and Kyiv's categorical refusal to accept the Kremlin's terms, particularly the recognition of territories occupied by Russia. The Ukrainian leadership has repeatedly emphasized that it will not make territorial concessions and continues to insist on the full restoration of the country's sovereignty and internationally recognized borders. This kind of rhetoric from the Kremlin is not new. Russian officials have previously claimed that, according to their version, each subsequent peace initiative for Ukraine becomes worse than the previous one, allegedly because of decisions made by the Ukrainian leadership. These statements are seen as a form of political blackmail aimed at forcing Kyiv to capitulate on Moscow's terms. At the same time, the position of Ukraine and its international partners, the US, the countries of the European Union and other allies, remains unchanged. They emphasize that any peace negotiations must be fair, provide reliable security guarantees, and exclude compromises regarding Ukraine's territorial integrity. Kyiv continues to promote its own peace formula and insists on holding Russia accountable for starting the war. Nebenzia's statements came against the backdrop of active Western diplomatic efforts to find paths toward a sustainable and lasting peace, including discussions of international initiatives and peace plans. The latest threats from Russia and the UN representative once again demonstrate that the negotiation process remains extremely difficult and tense, while Moscow's rhetoric continues to rely solely on pressure and intimidation.